Rebecca, 2 daughters, 12 and 5. Rachel, mother with 3 daughters. Both 2 of them are adults. One of them is soon to be 13. So, what are your thoughts then? Good idea, bad idea?
Fantastic idea. I think it's wonderful. I don't understand anybody that would have a problem with this. We have a major problem in society with teenage pregnancies, and I think that anything that we can do to try and combat that is a good thing.
OK, and you disagree with that, don't you?
Yes, I do. My youngest girl's a bit younger, actually. She's nearly 12. We've just come out of the Easter holidays. Now, if last week she decided she wanted to get her hair coloured or she wanted to get her ears pierced, that couldn't have happened without my consent. And yet she equally could have gone along to a family planning clinic and had a device fitted, and I'd have known nothing about that.
So is that the problem there? Is it taking away... Is it kind of sort of sidestepping the parent then? Is this something that's really important that you should be able to be there emotionally for your child, because they are still children at this point, that you're not being allowed to do?
Well, they're babies. I mean, these figures show that...
Some 12, 13 and 14-year-olds would argue themselves, actually, no, do you know what? They're all very different. You know, some are babies and some are very young, and yours, you know, as I think you said to our researcher, you know, wouldn't even contemplate that conversation, let alone anything else. But some are very advanced, and this is for the ones that are very advanced, catching them in the net.
Well, I'm not sure that's what is happening here. I think that actually, you know, if you've got a 12-year-old who's having sex, something has gone horribly wrong somewhere along the way. I mean, that they are very young.
That. And we can't. That's the society that we live in. We can't change that.
We
need to deal with the problem.
The highest teen pregnancy in Western Europe.
You say that you won't contemplate the conversation with your child.
No, I think that's been misunderstood. I have a very open dialogue with my daughter. I mean, I've got 2 girls to adulthood, you know, difficult conversations. I'm very used to having difficult conversations. So, and what I've learned from raising those 2 girls to adulthood is that it's never too early to start talking to your children about
You want to have
sex.
the conversations. You don't want to have that bit taken away by them going...
Exactly.
So what about if it was being offered at schools? Because that is part of this conversation.
Well, I know that if my daughter had a headache and went to school and asked for 2 paracetamol, she wouldn't be given it. You know, I'd get a phone call home saying, can you come in and give her some paracetamol, bring her home? The idea of, again, me being removed from the conversation and that being given to her
and
without...
That also, your child goes to school, and if they want to go on a school trip, you have to get parental consent. So you get parental consent to go on a school trip, but not parental consent to be given a contraceptive, so you can then begin at 12 or 13 or 14 your active sex life.
The thing that we're trying to do here is combat teenage pregnancies. And however that happens, it happens. This is quite an awkward conversation for some children to have with their parents. It's not ideal that they go to school and they get this implant and we're not informed. But if that means that they feel more secure talking to a professional about it than you, then so be it. It's not nice, it's not ideal, but it's a good thing. Not only that, but it shows that they're actually taking responsibility. And we shouldn't chastise children for doing that. They're doing a responsible thing by not getting pregnant.
OK, can we just speak to... We're going to speak to Dr Sarah again now, because you've had teenagers, very young teenagers in some cases, come into your clinic to ask for this. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a great thing that they're showing the initiative to come in and speak to us about it. In general, we don't want to replace a parent with that kind of conversation, but if they don't feel comfortable enough talking to their parent, then it's a matter of building a rapport with that patient and trying to establish everything around that sexual relationship that they're having, you know, finding out if it is consensual, finding out if they are safe, you know, and making sure that they feel they're in a safe environment to talk to me about it.
So would you... Would you give an implant? Would you put an implant in a 12, 13-year-old?
I think when it comes to under 16-year-olds, there's a grey area when it's kind of 14, 15-year-olds, because there's often that maturity in some that aren't there in others. I think if it's under the age, you know, if it's 13 and under, it does require a lot more conversation.
Right, and that's got to be my next question. And sadly, we're coming to the end, so it's a final question. But you as a doctor, and we've discussed here how busy you guys are. You know, your surgeries are full, you have allocated time for patients, you don't have a lot of time. So if that 13-year-old comes into you, how much time do you have to, yes, you can give them the implant, but to talk about relationships and STIs, and are you sure you're having sex for the right reason?
I know certainly I would never give the implant to a 13-year-old without having had all those conversations. And certainly it's even becoming a safeguarding issue in some cases where you actually have to get paediatricians involved to have that chat. Because, you know, it is not legal at that point to be having sex. And so you really need to be making sure it's the right decision. And so, yes, those 10 minutes will get thrown out the window, but for some cases, that's important and it's necessary.
Dr. Sarah, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you also as well.